Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Saturday, the 27th of August. This is the weekend webinar, and an important event occurred on Friday. And if you take a look at the channels and the charts, obviously the market was running up in a beautiful channel, reached declining tops lines, pulled back, bounced sharply Thursday, but boy, did it get slam dunked on Friday, taking the S&P 500 from nearly 4,200 down to 4058 at the low, nearly 142 points on the S&P. That's a huge drop intraday, taking it from a big gain to a big loss of 141 points. Well, it's a small gain anyway. But we closed at the low for the day, going away. When you break a support level, you break a trend line. It's a very, very important technical day for the market, and this one was a negative one. So we'll have to see if this is going to follow through to the downside. If it does, expect to see a quick test of the 39.95 4,000 range as early as Monday morning, and maybe as low as 39.22 at this point. But that's a long way down, of course, and we're going to just have to see if we can get this to do a quick, maybe reversal off the low. But right now, the key and real negative resistance is 4,200. Unless this gets back above 4,200, it's likely to get down closer to 39 first. We'll see. Right now, I'm not happy about the close on the S&P or the NASDAQ 100. Let's take a look at it. The way it acted, the way it closed, very negative. The lateral price support that I've drawn in, initial price support, comes in right where the 50-day moving average is. And that's right about 12,425. So we're looking about another 180 points down on the NDX. Don't be surprised if that occurs quickly, based on the kind of crack the market got. Maybe, just maybe, there's an angle of descent that's going to be able to take this market and reverse it off the 50-day moving average. If not, we're coming down to 12,100 thereabout, and that's a long way down, 500 more points. I'm concerned, very concerned, and the volume picked up as well. The transportation had a big hit too, dropping from nearly 15,000 to under 14,400 and finishing right there. That's a big hit. A 600-point slide, net 577 on the downside, 3.86%. Huge drop for the transportation index. Huge. Now it is fractionally above support. Comes in about 14,668, 14,670. But we're right near the trend line and price support just above the 50. This really technically hasn't broken the channel yet. The IWM hasn't either, but they're both right on it. So any opening to the downside, unless it's quickly reversed, could probably lead to a crack in these indices, along with a follow through to the crack in the NASDAQ 100 and S&P 500 as well. We'll just have to see what we get. Okay, the underlying technicals aren't great either. But before we get into that, I just want to show you some other indices and what's going on with leadership as well. If you look at the SMH, which is a semiconductor, you'll see that it was forming a beautiful inverse head and shoulder type pattern. And it did come down hard to the neckline, shoulder line, right there. Anything in this zone, it's considered the shoulder line, basically left shoulder head and right shoulder, if it's symmetrical. Obviously the neckline, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 times unable to get to, say, 245, 48. And that area is a key resistance now for the SMH, which is semiconductors and leads the market. But I hit a 5.65% or 13.31 points is one of the biggest drops we've had in a long time. And that kind of signals that maybe the end of or topping pattern being completed, and the downside potential now much stronger at 217, 18, and then all the way down to 200, which will be a complete retest or thereabout. SMH on life support right here, or critical level of support. So from that aspect, we'll keep an eye on that one closely. along with the biotech indices, the XBI, which may have cracked this trend line and is a little bit above support, but watch 83 and 78 for the XBI as support. The LABU had a really dramatically negative day, down 170 or 16%, and on the 50-day moving average below what I drew as a trend line. If I've drawn this trend line wrong, that's right about there, and we're pretty close to a key level with the next key support at here at about 765. So if we crack this 9 range right where we're at, we may have another big hit coming. Obviously, leadership is failing. The FAS also with a big hit, reversal, engulfing reversal negative bar, a downside surge of 821 or 10% in one day, cracking the trend line and lateral price support. Doesn't augur well for the financials, and it does indicate the possibility that if it doesn't hold slightly below where we are, we may test 67.8 range very quickly in the next couple of days if this market doesn't want to rally. So the underlying technicals for the indices and for the market itself, the McClellan oscillator, which got to 0 after plunging down to minus 120, back down to minus 84. Not oversold severely, but we've seen rallies from these zones or slightly below here. So there's a possibility if it doesn't hold minus 120 that we see minus 170 or even 200 plus quickly to bring us into a more oversold condition that can cause a more important snapback rally type try. And how is that affecting the percentage of stocks above their 40? There's still more than half the stocks are above their 40, but that's down from 80% just 2 weeks ago. You can see where cracking or rolling over, similar to what they did there or there. That led to that decline and this decline in terms of percentages above their 40. Dangerous, precarious position for that index. And what is the VIX telling us? Well, suddenly, for the first time in a while, a big up bar, and I mean a big engulfing up bar that took the VIX from 2167 to nearly 26, up 378 or 17.4% on Friday. That could be a trigger, like it was here or there or any of these reversal bars off a low that could trigger a run up into that 30s, at least a low to mid 30s. So not happy about what I'm seeing. Friday was about as negative a day technically as I've seen in a while. And unless there's an immediate reversal and we could be heading south for a few days. We'll see. So that was a look at the indices, the underlying technicals, and some of the major ETFs, but I want to show you the major components. NASDAQ 100, Generals, Apple, and a beautiful rising channel, got it right up to a key resistance level, but this darn thing plunged. For this to go down $9 in one day, from top to bottom, it finished down 756, or 4.5%. It's a huge drop for Apple. You don't see that too often, unless it's at the beginning of a decline. Now here we had a kind of a big reversal. It came down for a few days and bounced. And here we had a big one, came down for a day or two and bounced and went lower. So it's very difficult to gauge how far and how fast they take this. But I can tell you right now, there's a big zone of support and a gap on Apple about 159.60 is coming up. We may see that Monday morning. I'm going to show you some charts now. They're not going to be pleasant to look at. Amazon, in a beautiful uptrend, had an engulfing negative reversal bar as well. From 138 to 130, the 8-point reversal, net down nearly 7 or 5%, closing near the lows for the day. Not a sight you want to see. There's a gap to fill in a moving area down there, 125. Perhaps it needs to test that level. We'll see. Google cracked this base pop pullback platform and bounced at as nasty a reversal day as you can get on a Google. 118.63 to 111. Closed 111.20 down 650. A 5.5% loss. It looks like it's headed down to test those lows down at 104.5. That won't be good for the market. Nvidia had a tough day too. The semiconductor cracked a little topping type pattern, dropping from 180 to 162, closing 162.12. As bad a close as you can get when you're getting a breakdown engulfing bearish day. I'm worried about Nvidia testing going down to 149.50 here. Microsoft, same here. The big negative engulfing reversal day with a test right on the price support and a 50 and actually closing below it. This went down from 281 to 267, finished right there down 1168. Very bad day for Microsoft. Again, unless it reverses immediately, they're probably going to test that line down around 258, another 9 points. It doesn't get much more potentially negative than what I'm seeing here. What's the worst one of the NASDAQ 100? I would think that Facebook has got a lot to go down. I don't like the way this stock has acted at all, barely participating in any market rally, and has dropped in half, more so. 382 to 160, 159. If it cracks this support, you're headed for 135.39. That's maybe Facebook puts look interesting to me right here. Netflix, well, it was looking better. It cracked here and notice that it could not get back above that level, which is completely a negative reversal day as well. So, I mean, I could see Netflix cracking here and testing down around 210 and maybe somewhere in the 205 range. 205.10 is your next target unless this thing reverses immediately. Again, I'm going to preface this by unless we get a sharp market reversal sometime Monday, and even if we do, but unless we do that, we're probably headed lower at least for a few days. At least that's what it appears to me. And finally, Tesla also cracking a platform of support, reversing from 303 to 273, a 30-point reversal. It bounced a little bit, but it was still down 1147 to 284.60. Yeah, and you can see lateral price support in the 265 and 255 range. The resistance about 315. Careful on all of these. They all look very potentially negative, and I'm extremely concerned. So let's look at the what we need to start today. Let's look at a list of longs and shorts. Starting with ABCL, which has been a tech trader swing for a while. V bottom platform run up. It's basically a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I noted that. I reached my targets. It came down pretty hard. It bounced. That was a negative engulfing reversal day on Friday, losing 103. I'd be really concerned that this stock is about to crack its trend and test lower levels of support. Secondary support, just under 10. AEHR, well, a gorgeous chart with a breakout, wedge, pop, run up. Now it's flagging. Can it break out? Well, it tried to on Wednesday, reaching a new high in 1943, but it's reversed back down again. And the key is now that this holds 1590.16. If we crack that, I would move aside. If it continues and takes out 19 and change, we could be in the mid-20s. ALDX, wonderful rising channel. Nice consolidation. We take that out, we're headed to 10, my next target. Stop under 6.75. ALT, alt, broke out, ran, flagged, pop, flagging again. Great looking chart. Targeting 23.24. Support 16. AMLX. Excuse me, another biotech stock with a wonderful chart. Up against resistance, but I think if it does extend further, we're going to see mid-30s. Problem is we need to pop out of this coil. That's what it's looking like right now. We take that coil out, and that's your trend line. And we got a shot, I think, at extending this at this point. First to 36, and then up to 50, but it's going to take some doing without a breakdown. ANVS, it's on my short list. APA, well, you know, we follow the oils, APA in particular, along with Oxy. Now this one popped and broke back out again, but I'm not keen on the oil stocks. My gut feel tells me this is because it's the strongest group in the street, money's flowing there, but be careful. If APA doesn't get it back up about above 45 again, starts to roll over, it could be over for this one. This is a long run, and if oil comes down like I think it might, we'll see. Oil's being kept up for several reasons, but I'm not sure that it doesn't collapse at some point. We'll see. APRN, wonderful explosive move, pullback and wedge forming. Looked like it was going to go if we end Friday, but the market knocked it back. Still, it's got to get to the double top near 697. Then you're looking at 8.5 and 9 3/4. But for now, support is at 520, 460. Inverse head and shoulders and run out on ARRY, the solar stock, and then a pullback flag. I'd like to see it hold here, take out resistance 23.5 and run to 27.7.5, your next target. Support, however, is at 1890.95. That's where you want to put some protection. Up next is ASTS, which exploded on vertical, basically 6 to 14, and pulled back, had a reversal on Friday in the midst of a lousy market. So a good sign there, and may want to try breaking out of this flag and running some more. Good relative strength. I would say your next target would be somewhere up around this spike here at about 15.5. So your targets are 14 to 15.5 going forward. Of course, Friday's low would be a potential stopping point under 1090. AVDL, beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a flag. I don't know if it's going to work, but it did pop out Thursday. It looks like it wants to go higher, doesn't it? Targets are 8 and 11. AXSM exploded. We put an immediate swing on it. It broke through that entire pattern. It just kept running. From that level around 50, 51, it's jumped to 72 before reversing very negatively on Friday. A 6-point reversal from up 3 to down 3. BTU, well, a nice recovery off the pullback lows and holding support around 18.5, but it did get up to 29 on Friday, but it reversed. Careful there, it's at resistance near 29.30. And it punched through that level. If we should get one, it should test that high there at 32 or better. Cano, I'm showing you this because I like the overall structure. Pretty nasty 5-way decline, a beautiful, almost, well, let's call it 9-month base. Friday, it attempted to pop 725. It got there, finished 675. So negative reversal there, but continue to watch this one for a breakout of that base. When uranium stocks took off last week in the midst of a lousy market, it reversed on Friday, though, where the market did, after getting up to testing and slightly taking out the resistance level from June when it reached 28.28. Friday's high, 28.64, finished 26.40, though, and negative engulfing reversal bar, but keep your eyes on it. Fantastic move on CEIX, the coal stock that leads the industry. How about a move from 3 and change to 78 in the last 2 years or less? Nevertheless, the angle of ascent shows 85 as a target. Well, CGA suddenly popped on Friday. This is the same company in the same industry as Origin Agritech or Seed. This one popped 45% on Friday and did it on the second biggest volume we've seen in a long time. So it might break out, but it got right to resistance and stalled there. Now let's see if it can follow through. Your next targets are 8.5, 9.25, and 10.5. CFD, Clearfield, one of the best swings that we had this year. It broke out right there. We gave it to you in the low 70s. It reached 134 on Friday, nearly doubling in less than 2 months, but that is a very bad negative reversal day. From 134th, it finished at 119.56, down 7 after being up dramatically. Usually that kind of a negative reversal day after a big run is signal to get out. Cogent. I wanted to show you this pattern because after that explosive move in January in the wedge, another pop and wedge, another 5th wave up is taking it to the top of the channel. Maybe due for a pullback, but it has a great Momo and I wanted to show it to you. In this market, reaching new multi-year highs. Coupang, which we gave you on a breakout in early July, and then pulled back on a flag, popped again to the target, pulled back on a flag, basically did a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reversed, and I said that day, a negative reversal like that with a big engulfing bar, 3 points, is usually a sign to move aside. Well, it dropped back from 1819 range to 1695, and it's in jeopardy of a breakdown, but it is at or near support. CPRX, another biotech with a wonderful chart, first in a rising angle, then accelerated and exploded. Just since mid-June, it's gone from 6 to almost 15, and you can see it's consolidating or holding pretty nicely in here. Your stop would be under 13. Your extension target would be 17 and 18. Dawn, another biotech with an explosive move, breakaway gap, popped up the resistance flag for a month, broke out. Now it's coiling or wedging again. May have some more upside, but it's a nice chart. It's near all-time high resistance though up here. The breakout could get you the low to mid 30s. Up next, the DraftKings, which exploded, and we put a swing on it right there, reached the target number 1, but then came back hard. Friday was quite the negative reversal day. And from my way of thinking and looking at it, it may have broken down. Careful there. Next target on the downside, 1490 to 15, right there. D now, breakout through a triple top. I put a swing on it and then ran up and followed through, but backed off on Friday after reaching 1340, finishing 1272. It was flat on the day, but it hasn't broken out. And you may have some more upside eventually, but if it pulls back, it consolidates. Look for something to hold around 12, 15. DQ, the Chinese semiconductor, big day on Friday in the midst of a lousy market. Up 531 or 7, almost 8%. Breaking out perhaps of a 6-month coiling type pattern. If it has any kind of measure move whatsoever, it's telling me high 90s is possible. Let's start off with a target in the 85 area and then 98. With gold down, the JDST and dust are popping. Here's a strong surge in a 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth wave may have started. Friday was a good day for it. Up 220 or 10% on dust. ENVX, double bottom breakout, explosive move, pullback, and then retest. But it came down hard off the double top there, so careful. Got to get this above 26.6 and a quarter to get that to run into the low to mid 30s. But any breakdown here could yield a retest of 18 and a half. ESPR broke out. We put a swing on it. It ran up for a couple of days and backed off, but had a very negative engulfing day of Friday after reaching a new extension high of 865. It finished a point off of that, down 50 cents in the bearish engulfing bar. You do not want it below Friday's low. I would stop under 7 for now. EXTR, nice breakout. Nice run up from the double bottom down here in June, July, somewhere in the 8 1/4 half area. Has nearly doubled it by getting it up to 1453 and flagging now. Your next target is 16 and a half. Ford broke out. We put a swing on it, ran up to the first target and backed off, and now it's flagging. Friday wasn't a great day, but it wasn't for many stocks. It was down 4% Friday, but it's still holding support. If it breaks 16 and a half, your targets are 18 and 20. FLNC, nice chart. V bottom, platform, breakout, flag, and pop. So I have to show you this chart. It's a utility. It looks like one that can be back in the high 20s, low 30s at some point. FLNG in the oil and gas realm, breaking through a triple top and flagging looks awfully good. Look at the long-term chart on this one. A move from 3.5 to 35, a 10-fold increase, and now looking like 45 may be doable. First Solar, monster move, even for this one, to go from 60 to 124 in about 5 weeks. Powerful move. This breakaway gap triggered the biggest part of the move. But it's near multi-year high, 11-year highs, resistance, and it's overbought short term. So it may give you a pullback at some point. But if it does blow through here, it's Katie bar the door. Nothing till 134.5. FTCH, big engulfing reversal bar to the upside on Friday. From a drop down at 713 all the way up to 1289, it finished 1285, up 251. Huge reversal, 26%, and a big volume of 68.3 million. Telling me that this could be a bottom that is broken back out. Your target 16 and 18 for starters. Futu, a Chinese stock that participated in the China rally. Nice run the last 3 days, taking it from 36 and change to a high of 51, 15 points during the course of the week, and a breakout of a falling wedge. So even though it's up against resistance in the zone, I'm looking for higher levels. It did pull back and close way off that high, so I may need to back and fill in here. GOEV, still looking at it. V bottom, explosive move, and now a 2-month platform. Kind of chart that usually breaks to the upside and runs in my targets then. 5 and 6.5. GHTX, biotech on the run. They new highs that's late last week. Did back off a little, about 4.5% on Friday. But a move from 385 to 14.5. Pretty impressive in just 2 months. GitLab has been in a slow, steady runner since the low and a double bottom in March and May. Ran up through resistance, and I thought we were going up to 80, and we still might, but it's doing some consolidation in here. That might be a wedge forming right there. Hudson, been a winner all year, having run from literally 30 cents in mid-2019 to get up to 30-fold increase to over $10, reaching 11.16 Friday. Now the high in June, 10.75. So this is a breakout, but it pulled back 10.60. Still, eventually, it could be a $14 stock if the market permits. HLIT, beautiful base, real big run, and now beautiful coil. It's a setup for move to test 12 and then 13. IMBX swing trade broke out there. We put a swing on it. It pulled back to test, spiked up, got to the targets there, and backed off. I needed to hold 18. That's your stop. If it holds that range, targets are 25 and 30. INMD, beautiful long-term decline, a beautiful base, breakout wedge, pop, retest, spike up, run up dramatically from 27 and change, 38, 11 points before pulling back. It looked like it was bouncing last week, which it was. But Friday was another negative engulfing reversal bar from 35 to 32, finished 32.19 down to 28. Most stocks that finish near the lows after an engulfing negative day will go lower. This one has next support 31. INVZ broke out of a base with a breakaway move. We put a swing on it. It then pulled back and popped. Did not quite get to the target of 6.5 and backed off, way off. Right now, it's got a hold last week's pullback low and it stops under 465. JDST is the other ETF for gold that had a nice pop along with dust. KNX broke out of a base. We put a swing on it. It retested. Pop, pop, pull back and pop, reaching my target and then some, as high as almost 58. And the pullback this week takes it back to 53 range. There's support right about there, double bottom, double support, trend line, etc. We'll see if this is able to hold it and extend from this range, or it needs to retest lower levels in the 49.50 zone. LAC in the lithium group was acting well all week until Friday when it had a pretty nasty pullback, about 6%. We'll see if it's able to hold support now in about the 28.5, 3/4 range. LNTH, fantastic long-term channel, continues to go up, ignoring the market. In a nominal new multi-year high, 87.20. I think that's all-time. Yep, all-time high. It's tagged on Friday morning, but it reversed sharply. Literally 8 or 9 points, finished down 520. Not a good day for that baby. Let's just say short term, we needed to hold right there under 78. LTHM, Livent, lithium stock as well. Beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth wave taking it up near resistance to the top of the channel, maybe overdue for a pullback. Should a break up across that double top though, it might extend into the high 30s. MP, well, came off the low and flagged, and when it broke out, it put a swing on it again, but it's backed off and had an engulfing negative bar like many of them did. This one stopped under 33.75. MRSN, very strong run on this biotech, bottoming in there under 290, running up to 590, pulling back and running and spiking up to, that's right, 827. So it's gone from under 3 to over 8 and 150% run in 90 days. But for now, the next target is 10. But your support would be the lows reached week before last at around 7. MYOV, run to the top of the channel and flag, looking like it wants to go higher. It's a nice looking biotech. We get to that area, you might see the stock run low 20s, even mid 20s. Nerva, one of our favorites for the week. What a move. In 5 days from Monday through Friday, it literally went from below 310 to a high of 1203. This is up 300%, folks, in a week. Awfully careful with this one, please. But it does have momentum. Chinese ETF, Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer, EV manufacturer, NIO, long coiling pattern for 2 months after a 5-way move up. So if that's 1 and 2, we have a 3rd wave coming. The problem is they're awfully volatile, and you got to stop on a 17 and a half, 3/4, and we need it above 22 to get it going into the mid 20s. Nanox, which he put a swing on, broke out, pulled back, had a bullish engulfing bar, but boy, it did no follow through whatsoever. And now we'll pull back twice to test. Careful on this one, negative engulfing bar on Friday as well. NVAX, my short list. Same with Overstock. Oxy, one of my favorite oils, and it has been all year, as you know. We've been following this since it was, I kid you not, low teens. Actually, I think it was $8. Yeah, it's gone up to 75. Big reversal on Friday. Taking this one from 676 to 69. It did finish at 73 though with a bounce. You have the benefit of the doubt still. Target is 85.6. PAG Seguro popped out of a beautiful base after a long decline. I put a swing on it. It backed off. Still looking for 22.5 and 28. PI. Impinged in a beautiful uptrend. I wanted to show you this pattern. It's gone from 40 to 98, almost 100, or maybe it did reach 100. 98.88. 99 was the high right there. So you can see how it's consolidating. It might be flagging, and it might extend. And if it does extend, the projection would be 125, 135, but stop under 87 3/4. The biotech Pliant, PLRX, with a big pop about 2 months ago, is coiling ever since. I don't know if it breaks out again, but the next target would be 27 if it does. Stop is under 15.5. Plug. Beautiful base, breakaway gap, strong run up to the prior high, and a pullback to retest the VWAP, only it bounced sharply on a big contract and then back off. You can see the resistance here, 31.5, 32. We get through that looking at mid 30s. A bucket, 23 or 4%. Volume receded. I think this stock, if it just sits here for a day or two more, is going to explode, provided the market cooperates, of course. QDEL, run, QDEL's on my short list. Run, beautiful chart, breakaway gap, pop, and form what we call a platform. It's in the solar group, so I'm optimistic that if it breaks out over 37.5, it's going to run at the low to mid 40s. Rhythm, one of the best swings of the year, broke out there. We put a swing on it, just kept running. This has gone from literally from 5 to 26, 27, 22-point gain. That's 350% or more in about 2 months, not even 6 weeks. It's wedging now. But don't forget, a stock that's up that much is very vulnerable. Nevertheless, next target, low 30s. Seed, consolidating, bouncing off support, back to resistance. The key is going to be next week. Get it to 1065. You might see a quick 12, and then 14. Support, 9. Sigma Lithium, standout in the lithium group, hit a new all-time high on Friday, 2610, finished 2418. It was down on the day, so again, careful on anything that's reverses like that. Sky, another great swing, broke out there. We put a swing on it, just kept running, pulled back, popped again, met my target, and then reversed. Orderly, but you want to see it hold right about where it is. Anything under 13 is a stop. The targets are 18, 20, and 23. Snow, major breakaway move on a storm earnings report Friday and a nice follow through Thursday, but it did back off resistance when it tagged 205 and change, finishing 196, barely up on the day, flat. We'll see where this leads to, but it is overbought at resistance. SPWR and the solar group, nice base breakaway gap, a run up, and now a wedge in this area, which I believe is bullish. I just need this one before you commit to it to break out of that wedge. And it did have an engulfing negative day on Friday as well. Careful with that one. He stops on the 23, it targets 29. STKL, just wanted to show you this little food company with a really terrific reversal there, a rising channel. Next target, 13. TAL is an old swing, inverse head and shoulder breakout, pullback, consolidate for a couple of months and break out again. A big day on Friday for it, as it ignored the market and just kept going, up 11% or 60 cents to $6. Next target is 6.5 and 7.5. TAN, the ETF for the solar group, just to show how strong the group is. Beautiful chart, but again, negative reversal day Friday. Stop under 80. TCDA pulled back after forming a flag. Looked like it was going to break out. It did not. It closed under what I consider as the support zone. Right there is the maximum area I want to see, and it closed there. DCRT, a beautiful chart for this biotech stock that's basically taking a run from 35 cents to tag 289. And so we're looking at a stock that's gone up eightfold in a few months at the top of the channel as well. Nice chart though, good momentum. TH been in phenomenal, exploding in early July from the under 5 range to finishing at 1450 on Friday. Nearly a triple, folks. It actually did triple at the high of 1560. Keep an eye on this one. It might have momentum towards 18 and 20. TMDX, a swing trade of ours, broke out, flagged, popped again, retested, popped again, flagged, and broke out again. My target is in the 62, 64 range. We'll see if we can get there. TPIC broke out, we put a swing on it, it ran up to the target and pulled back. Now it's trying to see if it wants to bounce or not. That's your new angle right there. And therefore, I'm going to consider that an angle too, which means we need to run up, retest the high and take that out. Right now, it's in kind of a no man's land. TRHC, base, breakout, platform, and a flag is the forming. I like the look of it overall. I just want to see some energy. If we get it, probably looking at 7 and 8. TRMD, an oil and gas stock with a terrific chart. I wanted to show you how great it's been looking. Highest level ever achieved for this oil and gas stock, and pulling back and flagging it here. We'll get more updates on that one if I see it breaking out of that flag. Veru, another one that broke out, which is one favorite of mine. We've been trading it for several months now. Flagged for 4 months, broke out, ran up to the target zone, and backed off. You can see that right in this range is key support. I don't want it below that level. 16.5 is your support. Your target is 25. Verve broke out. We put a swing on it and ran right to the target, pulled back, it ran to it again, backed off on a falling wedge, and then broke out. Pullback Friday of 2.5 points has me concerned, of course, but it does come from a high level, whereas the stock was in June was only 11, and here it is in the 40s, nearly quadrupling. Upside targets, high 40s, mid 50s. VIPs, inverse head and shoulders, basing pattern, perhaps. It surely looked good on Friday when it broke out across the double top and reached all the way up to 1197. It did back off to 1110, flat, but I'll take it. And let's see if this has a forwarding action 13 target. BRNA with a breakaway gap and explosive move followed by a flag. I'm going to need this one to get back over 12.5, 13 to get it going. Your support, 990.10. And Yellow Freight, the trucking firm, with a pop, a run, a flag, is trying to break out, forming some sort of consolidation wedge in here, I think. Here. What I need you to do is keep an eye on this one for a breakout or breakdown. Breakdown's under 6. And Zixi, well, Zixi's got a nice wedge and trying to break out of it. I think it's going to explode at one point, but I need to see some energy, and your support is 870, and your resistance is 10. That's it for the longs, the shorts, etc. But I mean the longs. But I want to show you a few new shorts that I came up with this weekend. I have more work to do, of course. But here's a look at some patterns on the short side to keep for next week. Line right after coming down hard, and I've been negative on this stock since it came down from the bear flag in the 500 and change. It's come all the way down to 220, bounced. It looks terrible. I think we can see the stock down about 175, 75 points from here. ANVS has been on my short list since a year ago when it was trading at 41. It dropped all the way down to single digits. Over the last 4 months, it's going sideways. Is that a bear coil? I think it might be. If we do get any kind of bear phase, this is probably a $5, $6 stock. My take. CDNA and the downtrend since it broke down here in early, let's see, when was that? October of last year. It's been in a downtrend ever since. It's trying to rally. Each time it rallies, it gets to the declining tops line. It fails, and right now it's near support. Your next target, 15. FVRR been a downtrend for the last year and a half, from a high of near 300 down to the 30s, and yet I don't see it able to get above 45 to break out. If it breaks down from that bear flag, it might very well run into the mid-20s, mid to high 20s next target. GRMN, downtrend as well for a long time, right on the lows for the last 2 years. This is as ugly as it gets, and it looks like it's going to fall into the 80, 85 zone. Gravity, as much as I dislike this stock when it broke down, I believe that was back here at 149. It made it all the way down to 40. It hasn't done much in the last 3-4 months and gone sideways. If it breaks down again, we're looking at something in the high 20s, low 30s. HLI, spotted this there in the $100 range. It came down to 73 and bounced. I'm not optimistic that this is any major low. If it goes lower, my targets are 74 and 65. Horizon Therapeutics, massive top. There's a hard breakdown bounce, and it's going lower. Don't know where the bottom is on this one, but it feels like it could test somewhere in the mid-40s potentially. MED, breaking in a massive top formation as well, and unable to bounce much, forming a wedge. You could conceivably see this one get down to about 115. Novavax could be breaking. It closed at the lowest level we've seen in 3 years. Don't forget, here's a stock that got from over 300 down into the 30s, and yet I can see the stock in the mid to low 20s. Overstock, again, another bearish chart, which I showed you, and it broke down at about 60, and made it all the way down into the high 20s, bounced back up to the mid 30s, but failed to break out, and back down to support. Any lower, and you could see the stock in the high teens. PNR coming out of a bear flag to the downside. This doesn't look good, and there's your down channel. You can see a retest of the lows at 43 and maybe even the high 30s. QDAL broke here, large multi-month flag, breaks down again, forms another coil, breaks down from that level. I'm thinking this is heading down in mid 50s eventually. RHI, Tech Trader swing short right there at 100 or 99, wherever it was, made it down into the low 70s, bounced and formed another wedge. Just feels like if it breaks this, it's a stock that's going to be 69.70 and then 64.5. New one I found, SITM, side time, a semiconductor stock, looking pretty dire. Definitive down channel there, and although it's at the bottom of the channel, it just feels like a stock that could accelerate lower and reach the next target down around 85. Shutterstock, Tech Trader swing short from up in here. When I looked at it, it went 107. I thought this looked really bad. It made it all the way down to 50 and bounced. What I'm seeing now is a possible large wedge that breaks down yet again. And if this is a massive 1, 2, 3, 4, a fifth wave can take us into the 50s and 40s. Trex broke down from what looked like a basing pattern, but it turned out to be a wedge. There we go. Is now headed lower. It appears. I'm looking for a high 30s. TTEC, Teletech, another new one I discovered, broke down on last week. It looks like it might be headed into the mid 40s. Upwork, been on my list for months and broke down from its wedge as well. At this point, the new channel looks like this. My thoughts? Exactly. Retesting 13 and going down to $10. WK looks ugly too. Tried to rally here, didn't get us too much. Got right to the moving average and failed. It does have support around 58. That's what I looked for in this pullback. And finally, Zoom. You know, this stock obviously a favorite, a pandemic favorite that ran all the way up to 588. Talk about in vogue, and now we're all the way down to 81. That's right, I lost 508 points in the last 2 years. Where is it now? On support. Next target, 68. And that's it for me for today, folks. I'll look at the longs, the shorts, the technicals to prepare you for next week, and it might be a doozy. Everybody really read these carefully and listen to my comments, because I think it's maybe important for you guys next week while we're trading. Have a great weekend. This is HB signing off. Bye now.